Good morning. In today's session, let's look at the next topic that is related to planning. This is planning in India, and the topic is strategies of planning in India. What exactly is the meaning of this? So, when I say plan, every country requires planning for the purpose of economic development. With the same idea, even India also adopted the system of planning, and we are continuing with that planning even today also. Of course, the so called 5 year plans are no more existing, but planning system is existing. That is the reason why when it comes to India, we got 12 5 year plans. First 5 year plan started in the year 1951, and the last 5 year plan, 12th 5 year plan, started in the year 2012 and ended by 2017. What is happening after that, I'll tell you, but we have a system of planning. And regarding that planning, we are going to discuss now, and our topic is the strategies of planning in India. Kindly remember, for the purpose of examination, when I say planning, the planning is not just the planning commission. Planning is not just 5 year plans, annual plans, or rolling plans. But beyond that, there are so many things that we need to understand. Meaning, there are certain objectives with respect to planning, and we need to comprehend those topics in reality. That is the basic idea. Otherwise, the first 5 year plan, second, third, fourth, like this, we can keep on reading. But you need to understand the basic concepts of planning first, then we'll be moving ahead. So in this session today, we are going to discuss regarding strategies of planning in India. It's a lengthy topic, may not be completed in one session. We'll be taking up second, third, fourth sessions to complete the entire concept of planning in India. Now, let's go ahead and have a look at this. First of all, we use the word planning. We are also using the word strategy. In order to understand what exactly are the strategies of planning in India, you should know the difference between planning and strategy. Clear? So, what is the difference between plan and strategy? Kindly have a look at here. Look at this. A plan is an organized scheme created with a clear objective in mind. Meaning, whenever we are planning for something, we have a clear objective in mind. In the same scenario, when Government of India or Planning Commission makes a plan, with that particular plan, what exactly the objective you want to achieve. Meaning, what exactly is your end goal. This is the basic idea. So, without that final objective, you cannot go for planning. Clear? That is number one. Number two, when it comes to strategy, strategy functions as a flexible blueprint employed to achieve a particular goal. Right? So, you have a goal, but how do you achieve that goal? You need to have a road map, that is nothing but a blueprint, and that blueprint is nothing but the strategy, ways to achieve that objective. Clear? Very, very important. In both the planning and strategy, the objectives are really very, very important. Clear? Simple thing, let me tell you in very simple words. Like, you are planning to go to a movie. So many movies are there in city today, and you want to watch only one movie. You can watch only one movie rather. But which movie do you like to go? Obviously, you will pick up a movie where your favorite hero is casting. So, and you are planning to go to that movie only because your objective is to watch the movie of your favorite hero. Clear? So that is the planning. Right? But if you take this in our examination terms, you have a plan, and your objective is to become an IAS officer. Your objective is to become a group 1 officer or a group 2 officer, or you want to achieve some service. Clear? So then how do you plan here? So when you are planning for certain thing, you have some objective in your mind. You want to become an IAS, you want to become an IPS, you want to become a group 1 or group 2 officer or sub inspector of police, whatever may be the job. So only when you have the objective in your mind, then you are going for the planning. But what do you mean by strategy here? Strategies are nothing but the steps to achieve those objectives. That is nothing but a blueprint, that is nothing but the road map. Here what do you do? Say for example, you want to become an IAS, right? So you have an objective and you have decided to start preparing very very seriously. You have an objective, you have a plan. But what are the strategies? Without strategies, without roadmap, without blueprint, if you start reading, so you will be reaching to nowhere. That is the reason why you need to know which is the best coaching institution that cater to your needs. Number one, who are the best faculty members in the in India or in your particular city, who are teaching better for that particular service for which you are aspiring for. What is the material that is required and where is it available? What are the standard books that are available in the market? Clear? And what about the question bank and practice papers? So you have a strategy to achieve your objective. Meaning is simple, strategy is nothing but the steps to go with the blueprint. And please remember another thing, planning has to be always a flexible one. You cannot have a rigid plan, you cannot have a rigid strategy, you cannot have rigid blueprint. If there is a rigidity, that will hamper the speech, right? So that is the reason why you need to have a flexible blueprint. Imagine a situation, you are unable to understand a particular subject while reading certain material. Then what do you do? If you stick only to that material, ultimately you will end up with not understanding that subject. That is the reason why you will be flexible. If you are not following, unable to follow some material because of any reason, you will shift to some other material, or you will shift to some standard books, or you will go to your faculty members and discuss what exactly is the problem. So meaning there should be flexibility in order to achieve the desired ends. Am I clear? So this is the difference between planning and strategy. Please remember this one. So with this idea, let's go ahead and let's try to discuss more points now. Look at this. So when it comes to India, India was under the clutches of British for centuries. At the time, as we know, that Indian resources were exploited. Indians were employed at the lowest level possible in the services. Higher services are always occupied by the Britishers. Are very few Indians who are very loyal to the Britishers. Meaning our entire system was exploited during that particular time. That is the reason why if you look at India's economic growth before independence, it was just 1%. It was just 1%. It does not mean that we did not have the resources. There were plenty of resources, but those resources were exploited very, very brutally and badly by the Britishers. And our resources have been shifted, transferred to United Kingdom. That is the reason why, so there was a stunted growth with respect to Indian economy, and Indian economy grew just by 1% at that particular time, considered to be very, very low and very, very meager. Clear? So and finally, because of the contributions of various freedom fighters in India, we achieved independence. We got the independence on August 15th, 1947. Now what should be done? So that is the day we got our first Prime Minister of India, Shri Jawaharlal Nehru. So from the clutches of this economic crisis, you have to get the nation onto the track of economic growth and economic development. How is it possible now? That will be possible through planning. That is the reason why immediately after the commencement of the constitution in the year 1950, India established a body called Planning Commission. And that Planning Commission was the body that prepared or formulated 5-year plans for India. And the Planning Commission formulated these plans for the purpose and with an objective of economic development in India. Clear? Very, very important one. So who formulated the plans earlier? It was Planning Commission. Let me tell you one thing which you already know. Planning Commission is no more existing now. Planning Commission came to an end in the year 2014. From January 1st, 2015, Planning Commission has been replaced by Niti Aayog. Clear? So in the later sessions we will be discussing regarding Niti Aayog. Meaning today we don't have any Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission which was existing has been completely replaced by a very powerful institution called Niti Aayog. Clear? So this is what happened during the time, and kindly look at some points for your better understanding. Any point may be a question in the examination. Planning Commission was set up in the year 1950. Planning in India started in 1951, meaning from April 1st, 1951 onwards, we started implementing our first 5-year plan. Clear? So when I say 5-year plan, this is the long-term plan and this is the plan for 5 years. Clear? And India adopted the planning system from erstwhile USSR. Clear? Look at this. So when it comes to the Planning Commission, ex officio chairman was the Prime Minister. Even today also, for Niti Aayog, the chairman is the Prime Minister. Right? The chairman is the Prime Minister, and even for the Planning Commission also, Prime Minister was the chairman. Clear? Prime Minister was the chairman for Planning Commission. Prime Minister is the chairman even for the today's Niti Aayog, which has replaced the so-called Planning Commission. Clear? The first 5-year plan was started on April 1st, 1951. So most of you know this particular point. Should we have to remember this? That is the point here. I suggest you to write down and keep on revising this. By looking at the standard of questions that are being asked in the examination, I don't think they will be asking you directly when the first 5-year plan has commenced. I don't think so. Clear? Because standard is increasing. But these type of points may be given in the form of statements. Right? I have shown you many questions during our classes. They will ask you which of the following statements are true. They will give you A, B, C, D, and they will ask you to choose the correct answer from the below. So out of this A, B, C, D, 2 may be correct, 3 may be correct, or all 4 may be correct. And in those statements, one statement may be like this. The first 5-year plan in India commenced on April 1st, 1951. Am I clear? If it is 1950, the statement is wrong. If it is 1951, the statement is correct. If it is 1952, the statement is wrong. So like this, the questions may be asked. That is the reason why I want you to be thorough with every single point very clearly and very closely. Clear? So don't neglect anything. If you remember also, that's fine. but I want you to write down in your notes, because at the time of revision you will also be revising these points. Am I clear? Next, when it comes to, right, very important point, please make a note of this. Regarding this great personality we'll be discussing later, and the name is PC Mahalanobis, and he was considered to be the architect of second 5 year plan. Another very very important point, who of the following is the architect of a second 5 year plan? Answer should be PC Mahalanobis. Clear? Otherwise PC Mahalanobis is the architect of which of the following 5 year plans? They will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, or some other plan they will give you. Your answer should be second 5 year plan. Am I clear? Regarding 5 year plans we'll be discussing later. Look at this. For the first Prime Minister of India, Shri Jawaharlal Nehru, the development of heavy industry was synonymous with the industrialization. What is the concept here? In the earlier classes I have already told you that from dependence on the primary sector we started shifting towards the secondary and tertiary sectors. This is how the economic development is possible. That is the reason why the moment late Nehru assumed the office, started concentrating on better planning for India, so that India can achieve the economic development at a faster pace. And according to Nehru, you have to establish as many industries as possible, and those industries should be heavy industries. Heavy industries means large industries, large production, and a large number of employees. And according to him, this heavy industries is equal to industrialization. That is how he wanted to achieve this. Right? Already we are agrarian society. India knows about agriculture. But even after that one, we have given highest priority to the agriculture in the first 5 year plan, only to make sure that we are self-sufficient. And in the second 5 year plan, we have given highest priority to industries. Clear? Please remember these points. And again, we'll be touching all the points when we discuss about the 5 year plans. Next, let's go ahead. Industrialization via heavy industry was the way to achieve rapid economic growth. Kindly remember this one. Nehru was a dynamic leader, and Nehru always wanted the development at a very faster pace. And according to him, rapid economic growth is possible only by establishing heavy industries in India. Please remember this point. And planning is a means to foster economic development. Foster means speed up development. So if you want to go for the economic development, you need to have a proper planning. That is the reason why Planning Commission set the 4 long-term objectives of planning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that okay? So Planning Commission was set up with a long-term goal. Right? So what are these goals? High levels of national and per capita income. You know what is the meaning of national income. You already know what is the meaning of the per capita income. So the Planning Commission has to plan in such a way that there should be an increase in national income as well as the per capita income. We already know if national income is increasing, per capita income will also increase. Clear? Point number 1. Number 2 is the full employment, meaning everybody who is eligible should get a job. 100% of the employment has to be provided. Planning Commission has to make plans in such a way. Number 3, reduction of inequalities of income and wealth. So what happened? I told you already. Rich is getting richer, poor is becoming poorer. But when you are talking about the equality in the society, everybody should be same, even economically. That is the reason why you have to reduce the gap between the haves and have-nots. Clear? And the third goal is to reduction of inequalities of income and wealth. Meaning planning should be in such a way where you will be giving more and better opportunities to the downtrodden sections of the society. Number four, set up a socialist society based on equality and justice. Meaning, whatever you are planning, once it is implemented, you have to get a society based on equality and justice. So these are considered to be four long-term objectives of planning. Very, 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 very important. So from here, let's go ahead and try to look at the next page. Right? Look at this. This one I have already explained to you. Please have a look at this. Right? So now you are clear with what is the planning and what is strategy. Next, when it comes to strategy, it's a dynamic concept. It has evolved with the time, objectives, and resources. Right? I told you it should be flexible. Right? So strategies must be as dynamic as possible and based on the time, based on the objectives and resources, you should be able to act. Clear? And when it comes to Indian planning, we have adopted the system of planning from erstwhile USSR. Clear? Very important point. Just remember this. I told you in one of the earlier classes that during 1930s, entire world faced the, this economic crisis. India was no exception. Only one country was unaffected, and that country was USSR. So later, so many countries have adopted the planning system from USSR. India also adopted its planning system from erstwhile USSR. Clear? Now, from here, let's go ahead and discuss more points now. Look at this. Next, India adopted the mixed economy model of development and planning. What do you mean by mixed economy, my dear friends? I remember I told you regarding this in the earlier classes. Mixed economy is an economy where there is a coexistence of public sector and private sector. India is the right example of a mixed economy. Right? So that is the reason why you have to understand these concepts very, 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 very clearly. There is no doubt that the government of India is very powerful. But at the same time, we wanted to give opportunity even for the private parties to take part in the development of the economy. That is the reason why, unlike China, we have adopted a mixed economy. China went ahead only with the public sector. Everything was under the control of the government. Of course, in 1979, China also relaxed its norms and China adopted the liberalization methods by introducing the economic reforms. But when it comes to India, from the beginning, India has adopted the concept of mixed economy. In most of the sectors, in most of the areas, it was the government that was dominating. But in some sectors like coal, some sectors like steel, cement, the private parties were allowed to participate. Meaning, there was a participation of the private sector in Indian economy from the beginning. That is the reason why Indian economy is considered to be a mixed economy. Right? Starting from 1950 up to the year 1991, most of the sectors were under the thorough control of the government. So they were not open for the private sector. Private sector was allowed to participate only in those sectors where it was allowed. But the situation of 1991 demanded that India should go for the economic reforms. The Prime Minister was P.V. Narasimha Rao, Finance Minister was Dr. Manmohan Singh. They both planned and adopted this economic reforms of 1991, and we have introduced new concepts called LPG: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So with that, we have opened we have opened doors for the private sector in India. The areas that were exclusive, that were reserved only for the government, have been opened for the private participation. That is the reason why today we have private participation in airlines, telecom sector, insurance sector. Like this, in almost every sector we have, the participation of the private sector. Meaning India became more open now after 1991 reforms. Is that okay? I will tell you more points when I discuss with you regarding 1991 economic reforms. Am I clear? Look at this. So now you know the meaning of this. Mixed economy model for development and planning. Is that okay? The public sector was given the commanding heights in the process of industrialization. More powers are there only with the government. That is the reason why government decided and went ahead with the heavy industries. And the leading role of public sector is not accepted in the era of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Right? So when you have introduced major economic reforms of 1991, when we adopted the concepts like liberalization, privatization, and globalization, then that is considered to be the end of domination by the government sector or public sector. It happened immediately with the 1991 economic reforms. Clear? Please remember all the points like this. So the challenges of a mixed economy pose the need for coordination between the public and private sector. Very, 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 very important. Clear? The challenges of a mixed economy pose the need for coordination between public and private sectors. All these things we have to discuss, my dear friends. Clear? Now, I am going ahead, moving to next page. Look at this. When it comes to 1991 reforms, it led to the redefining the role of the state. What do you mean by the word state? Government. I told you already. And an increasing role of the private sector and markets. Meaning, at the time before 1991, starting from 1950, the role of the government was domination. Government was literally dominating entire economy. But with the 1991 reforms, it brought a change, a serious change in the role of the government. From the role of domination, it became the role of coordination. Even today also the role of the government is really very important. But the government is not trying to dominate now, and the government is trying to coordinate. That is the reason why lots of foreign direct investment is coming to India. Clear? Because of the change of the role of the government from domination to coordination. It happened through 1991 economic reforms. Am I clear? Next, great emphasis on sustainable economic development in the interest of intergenerational equity and harmony with nature and environment. Planning is indicative and decentralized in nature in the present times. Just look at the words carefully. I am going to explain what is indicative planning, what is a decentralization in a detailed manner in the later classes. Clear? Everything will be taught to you very systematically, very effectively, so that when you go to the examination and look at the question, your confidence levels must be doubled and tripled. You have to build up that confidence now. I am going to give you that. Nothing to worry. Clear? Right? Now. Centralization, decentralization, indicative planning, many things are there. I am going to explain you everything in detail. Now, when it comes to planning, how did planning originate in India? I told you already. Because Indian economy, Indian economic resources were exploited very badly by the British, the government wanted to go for a better planning for the rapid economic development. Clear? When and why Planning Commission was set up? Right? Planning Commission was set up in the year 1950. It happened immediately after the commencement of the Constitution. Clear? And this is to formulate strategies and bring about development in the economy by utilizing the available resources in the country. India was a poor country at that time, but we are very rich with our resources. How do you exploit these resources? How do you plan? And how exactly let's lay the road for the development? With this basic idea, Planning Commission was set up in the year 1950. Am I clear? Very important. Generally what happens, when it comes to the examination, they are no more asking the questions like in which year Planning Commission was established. Those days have gone. Right? If they want to add that particular point, that will be given in one of the statements in the question. Clear? Just now I have explained you one question. Right? But otherwise they will ask you why the Planning Commission was established. And you should be able to answer those type of questions. Clear? Next. Look at this. All are important points. Hopefully you are noting down all the points. What are the planning committees that were existing before independence? I told you already. After independence, after the commencement of the Constitution, we got a Planning Commission. After a long period of time, after so many decades, Planning Commission has replaced by another robust organization called Niti Aayog. But what was there earlier? Entire planning was done only by the British at that time. But Indians, they started insisting on British that we will also make the plans and we will give it to you. Because we are the people who know what exactly we want. Based on our needs and requirements, you make the plans. That was the idea of, Indians before the independence. And one such plan or planning committee came into existence in the year 1938. First one. And the name of that particular committee was the National Planning Committee. It was set up in the year 1938, and please make a note of this one. For NPC, National Planning Committee, the chairman was Jawaharlal Nehru. And the decision was taken in the year 1938 by INC, Indian National Congress. In the year 1938, history, as you know, in the year 1938, Subhash Chandra Bose was the president of INC. Please remember this one, because we are correlating this. And in the capacity as the president of INC, Subhash Chandra Bose constituted a National Planning Committee, and Jawaharlal Nehru has been appointed as the chairman of that particular committee. Hope I am clear. These are the points which are really important for the examination point of view. What is the name of the committee? In which year it was established? Who established this and in what capacity? And who was the chairman of the National Planning Committee? All are important for the examination. Am I clear? Next, right? I told you already this one, I have explained to you. Next comes another plan called Bombay Plan, which has been formulated in the year 1944. National Planning Committee 1938, Bombay Plan 1944. Years are important. So what exactly is this plan? So there is a group of 8 industrialists in India. They formulated this plan and it has been named as Bombay Plan of 1944. Clear? So this is called a plan for economic development of India. So this is named as a plan for economic development of India, wherein there was a strong endorsement of a state, economic intervention and planning. So this report demanded that the government has to interfere with the planning very seriously. Clear? And if you look at the names of all these 8 members I have given here. Clear? Why I am giving you these names here? Because we don't know what type of question may be asked. Sometimes a question may be very simple, looks very simple, but answering may become very difficult. Clear? The question may be like this: who of the following was not a member of the Bombay Plan? Not a member of a group that formulated Bombay Plan. How do you answer this question? You can answer this question only when you know all the 8 names. Clear? 8 names, some names may be unknown, some names we are listening to the first time, right? Maybe like some of you may feel we know J.R.D. Tata, we know G.D. Birla, but other names no, right? Some of you maybe. But for the examination, as I told you, if you want to achieve the top rank, you have to work like this. That is the reason why deliberately I am giving you these names. So please note down. So J.R.D. Tata, G.D. Birla, Purushottam Das Tagore Das, Lala Shriram, Kasturibai Lalabai, A.D. Shroff, Ardeshir Dalal and John Mathai. These are the 8 members. These industrialists have submitted a plan called Bombay Plan, and it has been named as a plan for economic development of India. Clear? And according to this particular plan, of course not implemented, according to this particular plan, per capita income must be doubled. Per capita income must be doubled in 15 years and national income must be tripled in 15 years. That was the idea, and that was the idea that was given by Bombay Plan that has been submitted by a group of 8 industrialists. Am I clear? Tomorrow they will ask you in the examination which of the following plans have suggested that per capita income must be doubled in 15 years and national income must be tripled in 15 years. Your answer should be Bombay Plan. Am I clear? Now, let's go ahead. Look at this carefully. Next comes another important one. So this is called, the People's Plan. Right? Bombay Plan 1944, National Planning Committee 1938, and People's Plan given by M.N. Roy in the year 1945. Tomorrow in the examination, they may give you all these plans on one side and the years on the other side. They may be asking you to match the following. So you should be able to match it correctly. Clear? So the plan gave priority to agriculture and production and was drafted on behalf of the Indian Federation of Labor. Very, 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 very important. Agriculture was given the importance, production was given the importance, and it was given by M.N. Roy, and this is called People's Plan, meaning it's a plan on behalf of the people. This is for the betterment of the people. This is for the welfare of the people, according to Shri M.N. Roy. It happened in the year 1945. Am I clear? And if you look at National Planning Committee of 1938, Bombay Plan 1944, People's Plan of 1945, all these were good plans. But no plan was implemented. Very, 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 very important one. Clear? So tomorrow again it may be a question. Which of the following plans have been implemented? They will give you 1, 2, 3. National Planning Committee, Bombay Plan, right? People's Plan, right? None of the above. Your answer should be none. None of the plans were implemented. Clear? But there was a huge discussion regarding all these plans, but none was implemented. Next, look at this. And in the year 1950, as you all know this one, right? 1950, Sarvodaya plan was given by JP, Jai Prakash Narayan. Clear? And later comes, 1955, the Nehru Mahalanobis model. Clear? And this is reflecting in second 5-year plan. That is the reason why P.C. Mahalanobis is considered to be the architect of the second plan. And this has been developed by P.C. Mahalanobis in association with Nehru. Hence we are saying Nehru Mahalanobis model. And this model came out in the year 1955. Clear? And if you look at 1950 and 1955, these two happened after independence. But for the examination point of view, remember what happened before independence and what are these three committees, you have to remember. Clear? Now from here let's move again ahead. Look at this. So why planning in India? What made the government to come out with the plans? That is because of article number 39. Article number 39 is a part of DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, mentioned under Part 4 of the Constitution. DPSP are mentioned under Articles 36 to 51. This is all we know, right? And if you look at Article 39, it is giving certain responsibilities and duties to the government state. The state means government, in particular direct its policy towards securing that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. Like this, so this article has mentioned about the welfare of the people, and that should be the duty of the government. DPSP is nothing but the duties of the government. So by drawing its powers under Article 39, Government of India wanted to go ahead with a body called Planning Commission. So in order to achieve all these things, clear, in order to see that the ownership and control of the material resources of the community are so distributed to best to subserve the common good. So the resources must be utilized by all. Clear? Not just by a particular group. And if you want to diversify this, if you want to allow the entire country, all the people in the country to enjoy these benefits, the control has to be there in the government. Clear? So this is the socialistic view of the government. Very, 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 very important. And there should be equal pay for equal work. Clear, for both men and women. How is it possible? You plan for the economic development, provide the opportunities for men and women equally, and the duty of the government was so responsible at the time. That's the reason why government knows that in order to achieve all these things, there is a necessity of going for the planning. Hence, we established the Planning Commission in the year 1950. Look at this, right? In consonance with the spirit of the Constitution of India, the government adopted planning as an instrument for achieving economic progress. Why government adopted planning? Right? It adopted planning as an instrument for achieving economic growth. Where from you have drawn this particular spirit? You have drawn this spirit from the Constitution. Where from the Constitution? Directive Principles of State Policy. Where is it mentioned? Part 4. What are the articles? 36 to 51. And which is the article that you are very specifically mentioning here? Article 39. Very, 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 very important. Clear? Thus, the first Prime Minister of India laid the foundation for planning in India to achieve the goals of economic development. Important, right? Hope you are getting me, my dear friends. Now, let's look at this now. And already we know this point. Prime Minister is the ex officio chairman of the Planning Commission. Planning Commission makes a comprehensive assessment of the resources, both actual and potential, and it advises the government as to how to undertake plans in the light of the economic policies decided to achieve the various goals. Please remember very clearly, Planning Commission is an advisory body. Planning Commission will prepare the plans and those plans will be handed over to the government. It is the responsibility of the government to implement those plans. Who formulated the plans? Planning Commission. Who implemented the plans? Government, not Planning Commission. Please don't get confused. Is that okay? No. That is the reason why Planning Commission is considered to be an advisory body to the government. Planning Commission is not mentioned in the Constitution. It is not a constitutional body. Planning Commission has not been created by passing a bill in the Parliament. Hence, it is not a statutory body. Meaning, Planning Commission was neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. And the Planning Commission was created by an executive order. It was the order that was given by the cabinet headed by the Prime Minister of India, and the Planning Commission was set up. Even then, Planning Commission played a pivotal role, a significant role. So during the for the formulation of the 5-year plans. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important one. Next, the implementation is the responsibility of the government through various ministries and departments. So there is also midterm appraisal of the plans to check shortfalls and incorporate changes in the strategy of the policies. So Planning Commission was making 5-year plans. Today, if you make a plan, there may be a necessity to change this plan over a period of time. Maybe after 1 year, 2 years or 3 years. That is the reason why once you make a plan, Planning Commission job is not over. Planning Commission will keep on reviewing the plan, and if there is a necessity to modify any plan at any place, that will be recommended accordingly by the Planning Commission to the government, and the government will adopt it and change the plan accordingly to suit the needs of the the people. Am I clear? Next one. You have a question? Read the question and answer the question. You know the answer now. But only suggestion from my side, as I always give you, is that be patient and be focused. Patience and focus will give you the service. Take my words for granted, my dear close friends. Consider the following statements. Two statements are given and two statements are related to planning commission only. Definitely will be in a position to answer this. Two statements may be correct, two statements may be wrong, or either of the statements may be correct, meaning other statement may be wrong. Read. Read the statements now. The planning commission advises the government to undertake plans in the light of the economic policies. Just now we have understood. So statement A is correct. Over. We have to read statement B. The responsibility of implementation of the plan is that of the planning commission. No, just now we have understood. Implementation responsibility lies with the government, not with the planning commission. So statement B is wrong. Is that okay? So wherever B is there, that is not my answer. Clear? Both A and B is wrong. Neither A nor B is also wrong, because statement A is correct. That's it. Right? So statement A is correct. So my answer should be option 1 without any hesitation. Alright? The only thing is that the key is with you. Be patient and be focused, and you will get the answer. That's it. Clear? Now look at the answer here. That's it. A only is the answer. Fine. So this is regarding this topic, and I'll stop here. I'll see you in the next session with the continuation of this topic, and we'll be discussing many things in the future classes. Thank you so much, and I wish you all very, very good luck.